prevailing narrative has often isolated ancient Egypt from its continental African context, treating it as a civilization apart from the rest of Africa. This perspective, rooted in colonial-era biases, has obscured the obvious and enduring cultural connections that tie ancient Egypt to the diverse African cultures across all regions of the continent. From specific hairstyling tools and clothing to documented body art practices, customs and writing systems, concrete archaeological findings connect the ancient Egyptians to their African neighbors across West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and North Africa. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus, writing in the 5th century BCE, described the hair of ancient Egyptians as woolly, using the term eulatrichus, the same term he employed to describe Ethiopian hair. The Metropolitan Museum of Art houses concrete evidence, an ivory hair comb decorated with rows of wild animals, dating to the late Naqada III period, around 3,200 to 3,100 BCE. This comb, measuring 5.5 centimeters in height and 3.9 centimeters in width, features the wide-toothed design characteristic of tools used for managing coarse, textured hair. The tomb of Myher-Pri, dating to the reign of Thutmose IV, around 1400 to 1390 BCE, provides concrete evidence of African hair practices in elite Egyptian society. His mummy, unwrapped by Georges Darassi in March 1901, revealed tightly curled woolly hair. His Book of the Dead depicts him with black skin. Historical photographs from 1885 to 1894 document traditional Oromo hairstyles in Jimma, Ethiopia, showing intricate braiding patterns remarkably similar to ancient Egyptian styles. The parting down the middle of Oromo women's hairstyles, lined with small braids, mirrors ancient Egyptian depictions. Proto-dynastic King Terra-Netta in ancient Egypt wore his hair styled in braids, identical to traditional Oromo patterns. The Afar tribe, an ethnic Cushitic group, from the Horn of Africa, primarily Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Djibouti, has a unique centuries-old tradition where men style and maintain their hair with cow fat and butter. The Afar people of the Horn of Africa maintain hairstyling traditions that directly parallel ancient Egyptian practices, including the use of hair extensions and elaborate braiding techniques that match archaeological evidence from Egyptian tombs. The Maasai of Kenya and Tanzania traditionally wore dreadlocks as symbols of identity, strength, and spiritual connection. Before we continue, if I could quickly ask you to consider clicking the subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. Also, click the like button and share this video on WhatsApp and other social media platforms. Share this video with other like-minded people. Thanks for the support. The Fulani, Fula, people of West Africa and the Sahel region, developed braiding techniques that show remarkable similarity to ancient Egyptian styles. Recent archaeological analysis has identified Fulani braids in ancient Egyptian royal attire, with curls coiled and layered with geometric precision, preserved through mummification. The Igbo people of Nigeria maintain braiding and hairstyling traditions that align with ancient Egyptian practices. Archaeological evidence from Igbo Ukwu, 660 to 1045 CE, shows bronze items depicting detailed hair patterns similar to those found in Egyptian art. According to Professor Catherine Achalonu, Igbo Ukwu in southeastern Nigeria is an important site that provides evidence of a lost ancient African civilization that also establishes Africa's connection to ancient Kemet. According to Professor Achalonu, there is a connection between Igbo Ukwu and Heliopolis, an ancient Egyptian city known for its religious and cultural significance. The mummy of Amune, a priestess of Hathor, dating to the Middle Kingdom, around 2055 to 1650 BCE, provides the most detailed evidence of ancient Egyptian scarification. Discovered in 1891 and examined by Dr. Daniel Fouquet, Amune's mummy revealed extensive tattooing. Multiple diamond shapes composed of dots on her right thigh, tattoos on her left shoulder and breast, markings on her right arm below the elbow, an elliptical pattern of dots and dashes covering the abdominal wall. Two additional female mummies, described as Hathoric dancers in the court of King Mentuhotep, bore similar abdominal markings. The Dinka and Nuer peoples of South Sudan maintain scarification traditions directly comparable to ancient practices. Among the Dinka, facial scarification around the temple area serves for clan identification. The Nuer practice forehead scarification with tribal-specific patterns. Various Ethiopian ethnic groups, including the Oromo and Afar, practice scarification with patterns that mirror those found on ancient Egyptian mummies and reliefs. The Igbo people of Nigeria practice scarification with geometric patterns similar to those found on ancient Egyptian priestesses. Archaeological evidence from Igbo Ukwu shows bronze artifacts with detailed scarification patterns matching ancient Egyptian designs. Research by J.M. Agai, conducted in 2013, documents extensive cultural practices connecting ancient Egyptians to the Yoruba people of Nigeria, including body modification techniques and their spiritual significance. The Kingdom of Congo maintained scarification practices with spiritual significance, similar to ancient Egyptian traditions. Research by K.L. Luyaluka documents connections between Congo religious practices and ancient Egyptian beliefs, including body modification for spiritual purposes. Berber peoples across North Africa, from Morocco to Libya, maintain scarification traditions that show continuity with ancient Egyptian practices, particularly among the Tuareg and other Saharan groups. From 5000 BCE, ancient Egyptians cultivated flax for weaving linen. The world's oldest woven garment, the Tarkan dress, dates to 5,100 to 5,500 years old. The basic Egyptian garments, the shendit, men's kilt, and kalasiris, women's sheath dress, employed draped and wrapped construction techniques. Research documents striking similarities between Queen Nefertiti's headdress and traditional Zulu female attire, particularly the wide flare design of Zulu women's headdresses. Zulu traditional clothing features fabric draped over one shoulder and across the bodice, with the other shoulder bare, mirroring ancient Egyptian garment construction. The circular-shaped hats called izikolo, made from grass, show construction techniques similar to ancient Egyptian headwear, particularly in their symbolic significance and ceremonial use. The Ashanti of Ghana maintain clothing traditions that parallel ancient Egyptian royal attire, particularly in the use of draped fabrics and symbolic colors. The concept of divine kingship among the Ashanti directly mirrors ancient Egyptian practices. This revered Sabaean queen wears a pleated dress like the queens of Egypt. We notice her frizzy hair. Traditional Ethiopian royal clothing shows construction techniques and symbolic elements similar to ancient Egyptian pharaonic dress, particularly in the use of fine linen and ceremonial draping. Oromo women's traditional garments feature draping techniques and fabric manipulation similar to ancient Egyptian clothing construction. Egyptian hieroglyphs, developed around 3200 BCE, evolved into hieratic and demotic scripts. The Coptic language remains in use today as the liturgical language of the Coptic Orthodox Church. The Meroitic alphabet, used in the Kingdom of Kush, modern Sudan, from 300 BCE to 400 CE, was derived from Egyptian demotic script, demonstrating direct cultural transmission. The Tifinagh alphabet, used by Berber peoples across North Africa, traces its origins to ancient Libyo-Berber scripts. Archaeological evidence shows Tifinagh has been used by Numidians since ancient times, representing continuity of indigenous African writing traditions. Research documents that the Ashanti concept of divine kingship is directly descended from that of ancient Egypt. The Asanteheni's role as divine ruler mirrors the pharaoh's position in ancient Egypt. The Akan people of Ghana maintain libation practices identical to ancient Egyptian rituals, including the pouring of water and alcohol to honor ancestors and deities. Research by Ogwejiofo Anu documents distinct aspects of ancient Kemetic culture found among the Igbo people, including beliefs about the afterlife and spiritual practices. The Ethiopian imperial system maintained concepts of divine kingship similar to ancient Egyptian pharaonic traditions, including the belief in the ruler's divine nature and responsibility for cosmic order. The Kingdom of Congo maintained divine kingship traditions with clear parallels to ancient Egyptian practices, including the belief in the ruler's connection to the divine realm. The Shona people of Zimbabwe Builders of Great Zimbabwe, the largest stone complex in Africa after ancient Egyptian monuments, maintained traditions of sacred kingship and ancestor veneration, similar to ancient Egyptian practices. The archaeological evidence presented demonstrates clear and compelling cultural continuity between ancient Egypt and African societies across all regions of the continent. From the 3200 BCE Nakada 3 ivory comb, designed for textured hair, to contemporary Dinka scarification patterns, documented in the 1930s. From Zulu headdresses, mirroring Nefertiti's crown, to Ashanti divine kingship practices, directly descended from ancient Egypt. The evidence spans over 5,000 years of documented cultural transmission. These are not coincidental similarities, but concrete archaeological evidence of shared cultural heritage. The Nile Valley served as a cultural corridor, facilitating exchange throughout Africa, while ancient Egypt represented a brilliant expression of African cultural achievement, deeply rooted in continental traditions that continue today across West Africa. Igbo, Ashanti, Yoruba, Fulani, East Africa, Oromo, Afar, Maasai, Ethiopian. Central Africa, Congo, Bantu groups. Southern Africa, Zulu, Shona, and North Africa, Berber, Tuareg. By recognizing these documented connections, we build a more accurate understanding of both Egyptian and African history. The legacy of ancient Egypt lives on in the vibrant cultures of modern Africa, representing the enduring strength of African cultural heritage that deserves continued study, celebration, and preservation.